All right, hey everybody, my name is Lauren Paul. I am the owner of LA Marketing and Productions. It is a branch off of our Lauren Paul photography business. This week and next week we are interviewing small business owners from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And next up we have Brittney. She is the owner of Kollective Vibes. So hi Brittney.
Thank
Go
you for
ahead.
having me.
You're welcome. Go ahead and tell everybody about Kollective Vibes, how it got started and what it is.
Yeah. So Kollective Vibes is a business that it really started on accident, honestly. So I am a distributor with Young Living Essential Oils. A lot of people are familiar with essential oils these days. And so I've been a part of Young Living for 6 years, and fall of 2018, I was selected to go on a service trip with the Young Living Foundation. And so for those of you that don't know, Young Living has a nonprofit foundation that is amazing, and they are doing incredible work all around the world. But they have what's called the Young Living Academy in Chongqing, Ecuador. So I was selected to go and serve at this academy, and it's a school for children that are selected to be in the academy, kids that normally wouldn't have the opportunity to have a great education, and they're selected to be in the academy, and then Young Living provides everything for them. 100% of donations given to the Young Living Foundation go directly to the cause of whatever it is that you're supporting. And in my case, it is the Young Living Academy. I do a lot of work in supporting them. And so anyways, I was selected to go on this service trip and serve for 10 days. And the expense of it was way over my head at the time. And so I just thought, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I feel very called to go do this. And so I'm going to make it happen. God's going to make it happen one way or another. So I had a lot of faith going into it because it just didn't seem like it was going to be possible, but God can make anything possible. And that's what I always say. So a friend of mine suggested that I raise funds, and I decided to make a bracelet, a diffuser bracelet, to sell to people because like essential oils, bracelet, diffusing, it's all a win-win. So I actually made this bracelet, and it is a gemstone. The gemstone is called Blue Lace Agate, and Lauren actually has one too. And then the beads around it are Palo Santo. So it's very symbolic and significant in that Young Living grows their Palo Santo trees at their farm in Ecuador. And so when I was researching, what should I use to make these bracelets to sell? Because I want them to be valuable to people, and I want them to leave an impression, but still look good and be like something kind of trendy. And so I found these wooden Palo Santo beads, and it was so significant to me since I was going to Ecuador. Palo Santo is indigenous to Ecuador, and also they smell amazing. Yes. Palo Santo, if you don't know anything about it, is a very, very grounding scent. You have probably seen Palo Santo sticks, and people will take these sticks and burn them, like sage smudging, in your home and things like that. So people burn Palo Santo the same way. So I knew that was what I wanted to use. So I made these bracelets, I raised funds, and I went on this service trip, and it completely changed my heart in the sense that I wanted to be able to give more to the foundation, and I wanted to do something to make a difference. And so whenever I got back, I had a lot of people asking hey, do you have any more of those bracelets available? And this was in March of 2019, so a little over a year ago, about 13 months. People kept asking for them, and I was like, no, it was just a fundraiser that I did. And then people kept asking, and so my husband said, maybe this is a prompting that you need to start a small business with it. And I said, I'm so busy with my Young Living business, running a team, not running, but leading and helping grow a team of over 800 people all across the United States and on 2 other continents, is a really big deal. And that's not an easy feat by any means. And so I said, no, I really feel like you have a good thing here, and I think people love it, and obviously people want it. And so one night, the idea of Collective Vibes was birthed, and I loved the name Kollective. It's part of my Young Living team. It's called the OG Kollective, and I loved that word. I like every meaning of collective, and I feel like life with the people that you do life with is a collective effort. And so that word is just really dear to my heart. And I love the word vibes because rocks, crystals, gemstones, whatever you want to call them, they have a vibrational frequency. And so it really is all about frequency and what we attract or can also push away from us. And so the name Collective Vibes was made. And I said I wanted it to have a K in it because Collective Vibes on Instagram was taken, like spelled the right way. And I'm like, well, I'm different and I want to be different and I want my brand to be different. So we just put a K on it and ran with it, and we have Collective Vibes.
That's awesome. Yep. I love that story. I actually knew that story, but just for the sake of spreading, your brand and your business, I'm so glad you got to share it again. Okay. So how do you find, or where do you find inspiration for your pieces? Because you have to have kind of a creative touch to make them look pretty and make them be appealing. So where do you find your inspiration?
So many places. Okay, so I am very big on emotions, the power of emotions. I teach people all the time about how emotions affect our overall well-being. Like if you go into it, and I mean, I could talk for an hour on this topic, but I totally won't. If you dive into it more, emotions really are the root of everything and everything that we deal with physically, and all of that. So anytime I'm like feeling a certain way, or maybe struggling with something, or, feeling like worry or anxiousness or doubt, or just like any kind of emotion, I'll look up in this book. It's called the Crystal Bible. Now, I'm not saying crystals are like God. Oh my gosh, photo bomber. That's so cute.
I was just saying, a little visitor back there.
That's
real life.
So I'll look up in here and see like what gemstones are specific for that emotion. And also like if I see something on Facebook, like someone is struggling with something, or like a continuous theme in the social media world, like right now, for instance, the newest design that I have is a gemstone called Moonstone, which is specific for worry and anxiousness. I feel like those are two very strong emotions that are rampant right now, just in society in general. And we can see that, we can feel that without even looking at social media, and so I picked that. I picked Moonstone based on those two emotions. And then something else that I'll do is, and this is kind of going back to essential oils, there's this book, don't judge, it's very tattered because I use it a lot, but there's this book called Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. And so I'll look up a specific emotion, and so let's see, selfishness, and I'll look it up, and it'll tell you like where on the body that emotion is stored, and just go with me, because there's a lot more like in-depth stuff behind this, and like why there's the connection and all of that, and we're not explaining that today. But basically then I'll go to the body charts where it says like that emotion is specifically in the body, somewhere, and I will correspond that and say, okay, which of the 7 chakras are just energy centers in our body, which of the 7 energy centers does that emotion connect to, and then what gemstone does that chakra connect to? And so these are all, maybe you're hearing this and this is like new language to you, or you're like, oh, that's weird language or whatever, but you can take as much or as little of it as you want and apply it to your life, see how it relatively applies to your life. But I very much work through like intuition and just what I feel like God has put on my heart, and it's never ever ever steered me wrong.
That's awesome. I had no idea that that's how you did it. So I just learned something new. That's very, very, I mean, it all makes sense. And I'm such a believer, because I've known you for a while and you've helped me through some emotional things as well, and have taught me so much about essential oils in general. But I never knew that that's how you created your bracelet. So that's cool. I love it. That's a great story.
It is. A lot of times a lot of times that's what I do. And now I will say there have been times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at a website that I use or different vendors. I'm like, oh my gosh, that gemstone is so gorgeous. I'm ordering 1,000 of them right now.
Yeah.
And I'll just go like that. And I've done that a few times. And then I'll get it and I'll like read about that stone and say, oh, okay, this is why this makes sense now. So
That's awesome. Okay. Well, okay, next question. It's kind of appropriate since we had a little one in the back, which, by the way, his father is outside with him. But anyways, you are a mom, you are a wife, and you are a small business owner. So what do you do to find balance in your life?
Oh, I always say, like, there's no such thing as balance. That's kind of the opposite of what people want to hear. But really, it's about prioritizing. And I'll be totally honest, especially since I feel like the chaos kind of broke loose the week of spring break. And so going into spring break, it was like, oh, we have 8 days and then our kids or 10 days and our kids are going back to school. And then over the course of, 72 hours, everything changed so drastically, just in the world and in our country and everything. And so honestly, like every single day looks different. I have gone through so many different phases over the past 6 years. So I've off and on been stay-at-home, work-at-home mom for 6 years now. And constantly for the past 3 years, I left corporate America because of my Young Living team and my business 3 years ago exactly. So I've been home that whole time and done several different businesses. My husband actually is also a small business owner. So him and I together, we have 4 different businesses that we run and run successfully. And so I will say that in our family, we focus on teamwork. It is not just like, oh, mom does all of these things. She's a stay-at-home mom plus a business owner. And so I definitely cannot take the credit for running my household solely by myself, because my husband is freaking amazing. And we share a lot of the things. We share everything really. And I will say that about a year ago, I realized how dedicated I was to my business and almost in a detrimental way. And what I mean by that is, like, dedication is great. And when you love what you do, it's so easy to just keep doing that more and more and more, and let other priorities kind of fall by the wayside. And I realized that was kind of what I was doing with my family, and I was letting that happen. And so truly, like, I get into this place of, these are non-negotiables within my family, and these are what we do. And honestly, my house is not one of those non-negotiables. Like housekeeping and laundry and all of those things, like if it doesn't bring joy to my family, it is not a non-negotiable. So I'll let those things go. But I also kind of have a personality that I can still work in chaos, and I can still work when my house is messy. Not a lot of people can do that. But we prioritize family time, and my husband and I prioritize each other. And then business comes after that. And we fit in business around what our non-negotiables are. And once I figured that out a year ago, everything else has gone so much smoother.
Yeah. I think that's really good advice. I think that's good advice, especially for people who are finding themselves having to work at home right now, as opposed to, at their place of work. And now they're suddenly balancing how to be a work at home mom or a work at home dad. And the struggle is real. And it took, I've had my photography business for 10 years, and it took us a solid, probably 5 years for Casey and I to get in a really good flow of like, this is what we have to do in order to make this work, because it's not just a 9 to 5, it's an all the time. So, but yeah, I agree. Prioritizing, and like you said, just accepting the fact that we're just going day by day, And, you don't have to have it all figured out, but as long as you do have your priorities set and the things that you want to focus on, the things that do bring you joy, the things that bring your children joy, stay focused on that and don't get so consumed in the business. I think sometimes it's hard because our businesses bring us so much joy so quickly, whereas like motherhood, it's like you don't always get that satisfaction all the time. You have the messes and the fights and the bad behavior, whereas your business, you are typically seeing satisfaction happen several times throughout the day. So I think sometimes we use our businesses to just kind of escape that real life, but ultimately, you only get one shot to watch them all grow up. So anyways, but I think that that's great advice. So what is coming up next for Kollective Vibes? What does the next 6 to 12 months look like for you?
So I do not think that far ahead.
Okay, what does next week look like?
I'm like 1 to 3 months ahead of time. No, right now that's where my mind is. Okay. 6 months ago, I was definitely, I had a lot of things, and as anybody in this time frame, like 6 months ago, you could have said like, this is what I'm looking at for 2020 and all of these things, and then everything went crazy. So but truly, so right now, it was a little over a month ago, I went to order some more Palo Santo beads because they're exported from Ecuador. So I only buy them from a specific company because I know that they're ethically sourced, and that is very important to me. So I won't compromise my morals and values for a product or for a profit. Like it's just, it's not what I do. So I found out that, or the vendor that I used was out of Palo Santo beads. I thought, okay, well, maybe it's just like that happens sometimes. And then the next week they were out. And so I contacted the company and they said, well, we don't know when we're going to have them because Palo Santo beads are not a priority export from Ecuador or Peru. Yeah. And so it was like all of a sudden, and this was the same week as my 1-year anniversary of starting Kollective Vibes.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, well, I guess that business is over. Like that ship was fun while I was on it. Mm-hmm. And there was some tears shed, and there was a lot of like, everything else is going wrong in the world. And I just want to sit and make bracelets and make people happy with pretty things and good frequency. And now I can't do that. So after I threw myself a pity party, I put on some essential oil. Yeah. That's not but there's this amazing essential oil blend that Young Living has called Acceptance, and I've loved it for a while, but really like in this season, it is something I use every single day. And so I put it on, and then I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, and I'm like, well, I can still get gemstones. I mean, I can get gemstones from any of the vendors that I use, and they're still beautiful, and people love them. And so I came up with a new design and actually a new collection, and I'm launching a new design every week. I'm actually launching a new design tonight with the moonstone gems that I
perfect. Yeah.
And so it's called the Fresh Start Collection, and this was the first piece out of it. It's a set of 3 bracelets, and it's green aventurine, rose quartz, and then white jade. And it's the first attached stack that I've actually made. So they're all attached together. So you wear them all together. But the beauty is for people that already have the what I'm calling original Kollective Vibes. So Kollective Vibes with Palo Santo, they stack really well together. And so they're really good complement pieces. But the other side of that is that you still get the benefits of the gemstones and the frequency. They're still really pretty. And in my opinion, they're a little bit dressier. So if I was going to a gala event or, something, really nice, I probably wouldn't wear my Palo Santo bracelets just because they look a little bit more casual, honestly. But these new pieces that I'm going to have are only gemstones, and they are very classy, very beautiful, and I'm really excited about the direction of it. As soon as I can get Palo Santo again, then I will absolutely have those bracelets offered again. But in the meantime, we're pivoting and we are rolling with the punches, and it's still fun and people love them. And while they don't smell amazing like the Palo Santo bracelets do, they do look pretty, and you still get all those same benefits of the frequency, like I said.
Yeah. I think it's been key to just watch small business owners kind of scramble during this time. I mean, that's a perfect example of just, you know, a source that was cut off, and then you had to be innovative and figure out what you were going to do, and you came out of it. And I think it's very appropriate and probably extremely relatable for us to say that we all have thrown a pity party at some point. We've all, you know, cried and asked why and been mad and frustrated. And I think this has given us such a unique opportunity as humans and as business owners to just find new ways to reach people, find new ways to make things, find new ways to sell our products, find new ways, you know, to network. So that's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, so how can people order your products? How do they order your bracelets? Where do they go?
So currently you can go to Instagram and go to my Kollective Vibes page. You can go to my Kollective Vibes business page on Facebook and comment on anything that I have, or send me a message. It's like, hey, do you have this? Or, hey, I'm looking for something custom. I've had a lot of people ask me they still want diffuser bracelets. And so I'm just using a different bead. And I'm not really publicly advertising those right now. It's just kind of a custom order on request. And I do a lot of custom orders. I'm literally working on one right now it's 13 bracelets, and they're all different, and it's a custom order that someone requested, which is awesome. But I have a website that is in the works, and kind of going back to that whole balancing stay-at-home mom, work-at-home mom life. It's something I put on the back burner for a while, because learning to build a website yourself is not the easiest thing to do, but I'm working with the resources that I have, and I have a brain, and I can learn. And so that's what I'm doing in the pockets of time that allows me. So for now, you can message me and go from there on what you want.
Awesome. I will link all of your social media links below, or in the comments, or somewhere where everybody can find them with this video, so that they can find you, they can follow you, and they can hopefully support your business. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you too.
Bye.